the NFL has announced their rules on crowd noise. Nobody really knew what they were going to do because is football without the crowd? Is gladiator without the Coliseum? People would say no. Needed sound. I was kind of intrigued to see how they would dummy out or blur out the swear words that are inevitably going to happen, because if you could hear everybody, not just players, but coaches, hell, maybe even athletic trainers and equipment managers getting in there. There are live words that are flying around on a football field. Now the decision has been made as a report from Tom Pelissaro. The NFL informed clubs it will provide a loop of pre-recorded crowd noise specific to each team's stadium that must be played over the PA system in empty stadiums and partially filled stadiums, at least to start the season. It has to be played at 70 decibels starting at kickoff per sources. Okay, so some stadiums, I don't know if they're going to be able to turn up the crickets to 70 decibels. I'm not 100% sure. Lucas Oil Stadium is a relatively quieter stadium than other places here in Indianapolis because it's built for comfort, not for drunks. I mean, it is two different vibes. So I don't know what sound they're going to get. Are they going to get the sound whenever that thing's humming? And then it automatically leads into the question, are they going to have the "This is our house" chant for the entire game? Or are they going to have other stuff? What is that going to be? But then the question is it going to be Renegade at Pittsburgh? Or is it just going to be a bunch of yinzers? Like, is that what it's going to be? So you don't know what that is. The NFL says they previously recorded from the stadiums or whatever. 70 decibels, though. I'll tell you what, this has been quite a talking point in the office this morning. How do you measure 70 decibels? Is it that stadium thing where they're like, get a little louder and the thing's like,
I think
if you get it to the green, if we get over 110 decibels, everybody gets a free burrito cup holder. And it's like, oh, so close. Like, is that how are they measuring it? I guess there are things that measure decibels, but then are you measuring it immediately outside the speaker? Is it in the middle of the stadium? Is it where the cameras are? Where are you measuring the decibels from? And what happens if you just happen to have a little decibel measurement thing that's, I don't know, off 5 to 10 decibels? Because we were reading all these fucking charts and 80 decibels sounds like it's double 70 decibels allegedly. Yep. And they say an 80 decibels is a vacuum cleaner. Okay, so is that which vacuum cleaner?
How far away from the vacuum?
Am I running the vacuum cleaner? Am I sitting next? Like, how are they going to be able to? None of the decibel shit that we found on the internet makes any sense.
No.
And this is only going to call for some controversy somehow, because the Patriots are going to somehow be able to spin a message that, with the wind that we have, the decibels actually carry with the sound waves with the thing. It's just a little bit louder. How are they going to be able to monitor that? Nobody knows. But I'm pumped to see it. And I like the thought that they're thinking about that type of thing, but I don't know how you manage or regulate this. I don't know how that happens.
Well, I just assumed that like a big sporting event like that would be most comparable to like a rock concert, which they have on there. I mean, maybe not quite as loud, but that's a massive difference from a vacuum cleaner.
Well, by the way, which rock concert? Okay, and where am I sitting?
True.
Like, that is the biggest, all the things that they compare it to, like noisy restaurant is 70 decibels here. Like, okay, what restaurant? Like, am I in the restaurant? Am I on the fucking patio? Like, how did the people that made this decision, or are they just sitting in a room and they just thudded in music and they're like, that feels loud enough. That feels like it's good. I don't know how they're going to, I would assume middle of the field. I would assume it's middle of the field they'll measure it, I guess. I don't know.
You would think. The loudest decibels at a NFL game was at Arrowhead in September 2014, 142 decibels.
Yeah.
But
where
was it?
That was down on, they always did it in Seattle. They would have the decibel reader like on the field on the sideline.
Next to like the temperature.
I just don't know. I feel like this calls for a lot. There's a lot of variables here.
I'm not a technical guy, but I assume those stadium PA systems, instead of I assume when you turn the knob, it probably has 70 decibels on it.
Oh, yeah, but I'm sure those are 100% accurate.
Yeah. Stadiums with fans in them will be louder than 70 decibels because the fans are also adding to the sound, so that does give an advantage to the stadiums with fans in them.
No.
So do the players, is it going to sound like the players at a noisy restaurant? Is that what it's going to sound like?
Yeah. Apparently.
The boys are going to be like, you know what?
Crying.
Kind of a noisy restaurant. Kind of a noisy
We
restaurant.
shouldn't come back here. It's a little noisy.
Oh, noisy. And will they get to control when they turn it up and when
Oh,
they
the
turn it
quarterback
down?
when he does this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because home field advantage. Like, what
When
are
the
they,
offense is out, you want it off.
Are they gonna be able to turn that thing down? Will there be like a gauge? You know, like there will be. Okay, you can turn that thing down to no lower than 40 decibels whenever you're on offense. Defense up to 70. That'll be where it's gauged at. It's like, okay, I like that they're thinking about it, but that just sounded very ridiculous on how you're gonna regulate and monitor that. I have no idea.
Coach, you talked about that live run through and then practicing the stadium the other day with the live with the crowd noise and stuff. It just came out that it's 70 decibels. Did you guys practice with that noise, and what does it sound like?
Yeah, we actually had it a little bit louder than that just to kind of test it out.
Make it easier in the game. Yeah, smart.
You know, I am a defensive guy, so we're trying to make it as hard as possible. But we had it cranked up, and honestly, it got to a certain point where you know this. You kind of move on from it. It just becomes background, and you just operate normal. So I didn't think it was too bad. I just thought it was like a consistent background noise.
When did you guys get the heads up about fake noise getting pumped into each stadium? Probably because that's just becoming news now, but I would assume coaches and players, like, you should have gave. I assume Goodell understands that the players and coaches would like to little bit more of a heads up that this is happening. Did you guys know for a little bit here? Is this a recent development, or is this something that was being talked about even at the beginning of training camp going in?
Yeah, it definitely was being talked about. So we kind of knew a little bit in advance and just figured we'd go ahead and practice with it and make sure we were set up to go.
70 decibels is less than a vacuum cleaner, but just about the same as a noisy restaurant, by the way. We looked up on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I love the Cliff Clavin facts. I love it when you just pull that out. I mean, it's like we're at Cheers. We're just rolling right now.
See, that's something I should have known, but those are things that I can't relate to. Will you guys have somebody on that noise, like working it? For instance, when defense is on the field, are we turning that sumbitch up to 70? And then when Stafford's on the field, are we turning that down to 30? Is there any talk about that?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know really what.
It sure sounds like there is some sort of.
Here's what I do know. We can play music just like normal. So in between, we can get the music going.
Okay.
And that'll be good.
Who picks the music? Is that your playlist or is that one of the players?
100% right off my iPad. I just plug it right in. And,
While you're on the sideline? Oh, he looks like he's too pumped.
it's not really. I'm not looking at plays. I'm just scrolling through my music. That's all.